What's happening, APLers? Here with a Week 10 preview. It'll be a quick one this week, running a little behind schedule, but wanted to get it out anyway. So, first matchup of the week is Ryan versus Daggy. So, the newly acquired Tank Dell facing off against the newly healthy James Conner. So, let's see if I can get this to work. There we go. All right, so throwing more stuff up at one time here this week. So on the offensive side of the ball for Ryan, Burrow against the Texans seems like a good spot, 340. Feeling pretty solid about that. Brian Robinson's in the mix this week because Mostert is on bye. He's not great. The Commanders are not great, but he's been all right. So 74 points projection there. Jonathan Taylor is kicking off here, or kicked off in about 13 minutes ago. So he's got the Patriots. They haven't been great at defense as they usually are. And Taylor's been taking over the backfield. So nice spot for Taylor. 119 is the projection, but it could be a lot more. Take Dell at the Bengals. It's fine. Bengals D has been pretty good. Saw him do some good stuff to the Bills last week. So 90 feels about right. Debo's back. Gets on the road at the Jags. Everybody's back for the 49ers. So that kind of limits the overall offense. But Ryan doesn't have anybody else to play this week because he has people on bye. So Debo gets the roll. Hopes that he can get loose, break some tackles, and go over that 76. Thielen played on Thursday night. Panthers in general looked like shit. So you got 48 points. Ryan's probably hoping for more. Laporta gets the premier matchup this week. Lions Chargers seems like it should be the offensive shootout of the week. So $1.23 for Laporta. On the Daggy side of the ball, the question is always, can Daggy put together get enough to get a win for the week? So the dudes are looking like Derek Carr against the Vikings. Our D's been better lately, so maybe it's not a smash spot for Derek Carr. James Conner comes back against the Falcons. It's a decent spot. 77 is the total. Of Cardinals really don't have anybody else to run the ball. So maybe there's more there than that. Zach Moss seems to be taking a back seat to Jonathan Taylor. So 59 seems like too much to me, but probably in line with where it ends up. Addison gets the Saints. He probably gets Marshawn Lattimore. It's a tough matchup. Just don't see a lot of upside on that one. And Godwin and Lockett, 73 points projected for each of them. That's kind of been where each of them are at. They each have good matchups. The Titans are tougher against the run than the pass, and then the Commanders' pass defense has been really, really, really bad. So maybe those are spots for an upside there. Daggy has the quarterback tight end stack here. He's got Taysom going at tight end. Taysom's been running, passing, catching. He's been over 100, like over 125 points, I think, over the last 3 or 4 weeks. So it's been really good. So 89 points is a bit of a downtick there, but I don't know. I think it'll be fine. Kickers and defenses are added in here. These are the season averages for each of these guys. So Daggy comes out to 1,070, or Ryan comes out to 1,073 to 927 wins. So the question is, is this the week that Daggy can get on the board and get a win? And on paper, it looks like a decent matchup because Ryan has a bunch of buys this week, but the difference is at quarterback and tight end probably make a difference. And then he's got Jonathan Taylor who can go nuts, and Daggy doesn't have anybody like that on his roster. So I think Ryan gets a win. We'll move to 7-3, and then Daggy remains laser focused on week 12 and taking out the boot barn. All right. So speaking of the boot barn, next matchup is Greg versus the boot barn and Ross. This matchup always features some of the best trash talk in the league, and that has been the case this week too. So they don't disappoint. So matchups are looking like this. Both teams are 3-6, by the way, despite Ross giving up. Still 3-6, and Greg also 3-6. So we got Goff against the Chargers. That is a big spot game. Hopefully there's a lot of offense there, and there's a fun one. So 343, big number for Goff. with some shootout potential. The running backs look solid. Henry against the Bucks. Against the Bucks are harder against the run than they are against the pass, as evidenced last week of what CJ Stroud did to the Bucks. But Henry's been good for over 100 almost every week this year. So just over 100 is where he's projected. Mix in against the Texans. The Texans aren't as much of a sieve as they used to be against the run, but they're not that good. So 104 seems fine. Bengals should probably have no problem moving the ball there. At the wide receiver spot, Hollywood against the Falcons gets Kyler back. Maybe there's some upside there. Maybe he can get behind the D and catch a deep one. DeAndre Hopkins against the Bucks seems like a really nice spot after the Bucks got torched last week, and Levis seems to have provided some lift to that offense. And then Olave against the Vikings. We can get beat too. So I think there's upside on all three of these receivers here for Greg. And then Jonnu Smith at tight end takes over with Goddard out. He's been good. Don't see him in line for like a monster like 200 or 250 point game, but should be solid and get enough points for Greg. On the fire sale side of the matchup here, you got Lamar against the Browns. Brutal matchup. Browns are really good, and they controlled Lamar in their first matchup, so don't think there's a huge spot there. David Montgomery comes back against the Chargers. He'll probably get 30 carries and have 140 points or something like that. If things go how they went before, think that Gibbs probably gets some more carries based on what he did when Montgomery was out, but that assumes rational coaching, which doesn't always happen. So Jaylen Warren against the Packers. He's kind of the, I don't know, number 2 guy to Najee Harris. Maybe should be probably the number 1, but yeah, whatever. He's not going to get a ton of touches, so 68 points. Ross rolling with Gabe Davis despite the 0 last week against the Broncos, so 64 points on Monday night. And Jahan Dotson does get the start this week. Gets the Seahawks. They should be playing catch up and playing from behind, so 60 seems low. I like that. I like that spot for him to exceed that. DK gets the Commanders. Bad. So you got the receivers on opposite ends of the matchup there. That could be a nice spot for Ross. And then Ross doesn't roll with Cade Otton, which is kind of surprising. Goes back to Hunter Henry, his dude that he drafted last year to be his tight end 1 that didn't quite work out. So still has faith in him. The Patriots don't really have anybody else to catch the ball, so it's not a bad start. I just thought there'd be some more belief in Cade Otton after his big week last week. Throw in some kickers and some defense. Greg obviously has the advantage at kicker. And so last week, Greg pulls Kenny Moore out of nowhere. This week, he has like Justin Marmaduke or whatever. I never heard of this guy. I looked at his stats, and they're pretty decent for the last few weeks. So I'm assuming that 29 will probably be like a 129 or something. So I think that Ross does have a nice spot here with Max Crosby. I don't talk about the defensive guys too much, but the Jets have like nothing at offensive line, and Zach Wilson doesn't know how to play quarterback. So that could be a multiple sack game. The Saints corner guy, another guy I'd never heard of that Ross is starting here. So we'll see how it goes. In the end, Greg over Ross seems like this is with ease. So no Hurts, no Goddard, no problem for Greg. And as Greg's team name says, say goodnight, Kevin. This be the second year in a row that Greg can get a leg up on Kevin. It's also fitting. I think that Tank mentioned this might have been in the group text that it's fitting that Greg and Kevin are playing the week that Kyler comes back from his ACL injury suffered last week and are in the infamous matchup between these two to make the playoffs. So, and just like last year, Greg wins again. All right, next matchup, me versus Solomon. This is a good one. This one. So on the offensive side, I get Josh Allen against the Broncos, who have been much better lately. They were effective against Mahomes in their 2 games. 379 is a projection. It's a huge number. So they're projecting them not to be effective against the Bills. Been a lot of talk about the Bills offense struggling, and they're at home, and they just kind of want to let Allen go nuts. So we'll see if that happens. The running back spot, Brees against the Raiders on Sunday night. He gets the ball a ton, home run threat all the time. Just not happening because their offensive line and overall offense are so bad. So we'll see if something can happen against the Raiders. Walker against the Commanders. Concerned, I mean, the offense was awful last week. Concerned that Charbonnet is going to cut into some of their some of his production, but he's a home run threat too. So I'll give it a shot. Wide receivers, I'm missing Tyreek this week, so Keenan, CD, and Amon-Ra are the guys. They all have decent matchups. I'm hoping for the shootout there as everybody else is in the Lions-Chargers game with Keenan and Amon-Ra going head-to-head. And then hoping that the Cowboys do enough passing as they're doing all their damage early because they'll probably be up on the Giants by like 30 points by halftime. Andrews against the Browns, a little bit scared of that matchup. Browns have been tough against tight end, but he had like 205 last time they played, so maybe he can do it again. We'll see. Jump over to the Solomon side of the ball. He gets his Jaguars guys back from bye for the week. So Trevor Lawrence is in the mix against the 49ers. A little bit tougher matchup, but the 49ers have been passed on. The Cousins showed that. And then they got passed on the next week too. So maybe there's some upside in that 316. Solomon puts in the newly acquired Rachaad White into the lineup. 92 seems like it could be a low spot there. He just catches the ball so much. He's been effective. He's been over 100 for several weeks in a row. So feeling good there. Bijan is interesting. Lots of talk about him this week in the media. Coach gets questioned all the time why he doesn't get to play. So gets the Cardinals. They're the worst in the league against the run. So it feels like a get right spot for Bijan here. At the wide receiver spot, a little bit tougher here. So Cooper gets the Ravens. Ravens have been best defense in the league. So maybe they can shut down Cooper at the same time. Deshaun just targets the crap out of him. So he may just be matchup proof and not have to worry about it. Ridley, it's 49ers. He's been up and down. So we'll see what kind of week it is. For him, Garrett Wilson he gets like 9 or 10. It's probably 7 or 8 catches a week. And it's like 70 or 80 yards because their offense is just inept, but plenty of target volume there for a big week. And then Hawkinson has just been the reception man with JJ out. So should be another good game against the Saints. So all this looks pretty close. Throw in the kickers and the defenses, and they're pretty even as well. But I think it really just comes down to that Josh Allen can get it done on Monday night. Kind of a unique thing here. The majority of Solomon's team all plays at noon. So he'll just have Bijan and Wilson left after the noon games are done. And I just have Mark Andrews and a couple defensive guys going at noon. So it'll be Solomon posting his score and seeing if I can go chase him down. So, all right. Next matchup is Sade and Corey. Big one for each of these guys. I think Sade definitely wants a win to get back, maybe pull even with somebody in his division if Ryan or Jake can lose. Definitely needs to stay in the mix, and Corey wants to keep some distance between him and those other 3 guys in our division. So it's a key one for each of these guys. Herbert for 314 against the Lions. Hope for more there. Lions defense was good to start, and it's been kind of trailing off a little bit lately. So maybe this is a huge spot for Herbert in one of those games where Sade gets a game from Herbert that he was hoping when he drafted him. Eckler for 109, his running game has looked not good. His involvement in the passing game has been excellent. So maybe some double dips there from Herbert to Eckler. And then I put Pollard as the picture here because every week it's going to be a Pollard week. So is this the week against the Giants where Pollard finally gets right? And I'm Sade happy that he traded for him. There's a decent chance. So 107 points there. Receivers are all right. Deontay's been great since he came back. 84 seems a little low against the Packers. Christian Kirk, they're playing that slot role there against the 49ers. Seems like a decent spot, 85. Jacoby Myers against the Jets. It just hasn't been the same in a few weeks. But bye weeks are rough for today, so that's where he's at. And then Njoku against the Ravens. talked about that Ravens-Browns game just be a slog of defensive stuff. Which, flipping over to the Corey side, Deshaun Watson and Jerome Ford get the Ravens defense, which is a really, really, really tough spot. So I don't feel too optimistic that there's a ton of upside on those two guys. And then Jacobs and Devontae get the Jets, another tough defense to go against. Jets have been a little more susceptible against the run than they have against the pass, and Jacobs is going to get all of their stuff. And the coach has talked about getting Jacobs to the century mark, so maybe he just gets fed the ball enough to get those 104 points, but that Jets defense is a tougher one. Evans and London are fine. Evans should be fine against the Titans, and then Evan Ingram gets the 49ers back from the bye week, and he's been solid all year. Throw in kickers and defenses, pretty equal here as well. But I have Solomon coming out to a win here. I think it's just the Chiefs bye week is rough for Corey here. That Deshaun Watson, Justin Herbert difference is going to be the difference in this one. Last matchup of the week is the big matchup of the week. So this is Tank versus Jake. Win for Tank gets him 2 games in front of Jake with 4 to go, and a win for Jake pulls him even with Tank, 4 to go. So this is a big deal. Tank still rolling out Geno Smith, gets the Commanders. Geno's been shitty a lot this year, and a few times he's been good. Commanders matchup is good. Do they need to pass? Will they be up by 25 points like right away? That to me seems like the key part of this whole matchup. ETN gets 49ers, tough defense, but that guy has been awesome all year. Kamara, his usage has just been dropping off lately with Taysom Hill getting the ball so much. And Jamal Williams back, he's been touching it less. The coaches have said that's by design. So maybe there's not a huge spot for Kamara, but he's still solid, still steady. So 105 is the number. Ayuk versus the Jags. I think that 49ers Jags game is a big one throughout the league here. There's a lot of dudes playing in that one. Ayuk's been good. So 92 points. Diggs 109 on Monday night. Little popped up on the injury report, but sounds like he should be fine. McLaurin gets the Seahawks, so the Commanders just throw the ball 1,000 times a game. So should be okay. Trey McBride against the Falcons. So this is the Kelsey bye week filler here. McBride gets Kyler to come back against the Falcons. Seems like it should be fine, but another key spot to watch here in this matchup is a tight end spot. So can Geno and McBride propel Tank to victory against Jake's big squad over here? So I got Dak against the Giants. 345 is the number. Kind of as I mentioned in my CD analysis, there is, can he get enough points before they have to pull off? Because they're going to be killing the Giants with their Danny DeVito or Tommy DeVito at quarterback. It's not going to be good. Aaron Jones did a lot of good stuff last week. It's the Steelers who are susceptible to the run, so good spot there. McCaffrey's always good, so 137 against the Jags seems fine. Jamar Chase is a big question mark. Is he going to play? Is he not going to play? If he does, he probably gets a ton of volume because, like, who else is going to throw the ball to? So that'll be something to watch here as inactives come out for the noon games. And then DJ Moore played on Thursday. He wasn't great. Wasn't bad. Wasn't great. And then Pickens as the number 3 wide receiver here with T. Higgins out against the Packers. I don't know. Seems risky to start a dude who just like deleted all of his team from his Instagram stuff. He was just wiping it though. It was no big deal. And overall seems unhappy with his role and everything. But maybe that means he gets force fed and he has a big week. We'll find out. Kittle against the Jags. I'm interested to see how this one plays out here. I think I would roll with Schultz over Kittle just to get steady points where Kittle has either been like 300 or 3. But I can also see the opposite side that Jake wants to put up a big number to beat Tank, whose team has been steady and solid every week, so he needs the spike week from Kittle. So we'll be interested to see how that rolls. Kickers and defenses here. again, fairly even, and Jake coming out to just a little bit of a win here. I think the quarterback matchup again is the difference maker. That Dak will just put up more than Geno. So I think that Jake ties up the division, and the Kelsey bye week turns out to be a killer. So McBride and Kittle look even here in the projections, but I think that's another spot that gives Jake an advantage. So the quick summary is Ryan over Daggy fairly comfortably, Greg over Ross, me over Solomon, Sade over Corey, and Jake over Tank in a tight one. And the block of the week is Greg over Ross. So, all right, that's it. Good luck, everybody. Hope nobody gets hurt. Talk to you later.